South Jamaica, baby, they made me to be the greatest. Serving the deed of my creators, fresh off of my high haters. It's the king again, Magdalene, chauffeured, bragging and boasting.
Yo, fam, it's your boy Dollar Boy, fam, and we got another reaction. Yo, my bad, bro. You would think out of all the time that I've done all these Toronto reactions that my Toronto accent would be down packed by now. That shit was so cringe. Anyway, we got a reaction for y'all. Tales of Toronto, the crazy story of WhyG. All right, this is going to be a banger. Shout out to Child Support, man. He makes some good documentary style videos. I definitely enjoy them. I know there's a couple of them that I missed out on, but now that your boy's back on his consistent dropping videos, well, for the most part, I try to drop videos every day, and I have a whole schedule for when you could expect certain reactions. So Fridays is when I do these style of reactions, like documentary, random shit, funny videos, stuff like that. So consider subscribing if you haven't already, man. We almost have 40,000 subscribers. I would like to hit that around January. And yeah, drop a like, comment, man. Help this algorithm, because YouTube be on some dumb shit. I don't be understanding what's going on, but I do be understanding what's going on. They just on some fuck shit, but it is what it is, man. Without further ado, let's hop right into this shit.
In the vibrant city of Toronto, known for its cultural diversity and emerging hip-hop scene, one man's journey took an unexpected turn, leading him from the six to the bright lights of Los Angeles, then ending in a harrowing experience in Ohio. Join me as we explore the life and trials of a Toronto rapper who went on the run for a crime he supposedly didn't commit.
Oh, I mean, he beat the case, right? He was found out guilty.
Lee is gunned down at point-blank range. Toronto police have identified one of the suspects as 21-year-old Shamari White.
He is known to the police.
CBC News has learned he has a criminal record. They released today's video in hopes of finding White and identifying the second suspect.
Blue tee. I'm on your block in my blue tee.
These niggas clicking up like bitches, man. And my blue tee on your block and I'll fucking coming, man. I'm on your block
in my blue tee.
If I see it, I'll be getting shot in my blue tee.
Shamari White, better known by his stage name WhyG, is originally from Rexdale, from a block known as the Towns. He didn't spend much time there as his mother was often busy from work and would leave him with his aunt, who lived 15 minutes away on the north side of Jane and Finch, on a corner known as Shoreham Court. Right across from Shoreham is Driftwood, a block known to have cultivated some of the city's most talented artists. From the likes of Pressa to Toronto rap pioneer Robin Banks, Driftwood has been
is the Toronto O Block
scene for a near decade.
Some people would say Regent because it's the original, but
something far more sinister.
I don't know. That's y'all gotta tell me which I think is the Toronto O Block, Regent or Driftwood. They're both equally notorious, though.
Police conducted a number of early morning raids targeting a street gang known as the Driftwood Crips.
The Driftwood Crips street gang.
I would say Regent gets an edge just because Paid in Full was shot over there.
You have no regard for public safety.
Members of this group have been involved in numerous reckless acts, including shootings, kidnappings, firearm offenses, armed sexual assaults, robberies, drug trafficking, and other serious criminal offenses.
June 13th, 2007, Project Kryptic was underway. The takedown followed an 11-month investigation by Toronto police and other forces, including Barrie, Niagara, York Region, and the RCMP. It involved more than 700 officers carrying out 130 search warrants, 37 of them in the Jane and Finch area. Along with the 95 arrests, police seized more than $1 million in
$1 million in drugs? That's crazy.
3 dozen firearms,
boys was getting money, huh?
$221,000 in Canadian currency and $5,500 in U.S. currency. At the epicenter of the project were the Driftwood Crips. Originating out of Driftwood Court, the crew first caught the eye of investigators a year prior to the raids, after a man was fatally shot and 3 others were wounded as cars raced down a residential street in Rexdale. Although the survivors refused to give information to police, investigators were able to tie the incident to the Driftwood Crips, who were the main rival of several gangs across Rexdale. Then on May 23rd, 15-year-old Driftwood Court resident Jordan Manners was fatally shot in a stairwell at his high school. 2 weeks later, a shootout would unfold right outside of his family home. Fortunately, nobody was hurt. This pushed the Jane and Finch neighborhood over the edge and demanded city leaders to crack down on the gun violence that was clearly infecting their neighborhood. The resistance resulted in the creation of a 2-member provincial commission to investigate what can be done to address youth violence in the struggling corridor. Some longtime residents still weren't convinced action was being taken, with one quoted saying, "It's the same thing every summer." Police stormed the area, and then a couple of weeks later, they released all of them back in the same place.
They couldn't build the case.
This wasn't the issue with the Driftwood Crips, though. It was actually far worse. According to court documents, even after the arrests of the quote-unquote 3 generals, the crew continued to thrive because of 2 factors. 1, several high-ranking members were able to conduct operations while incarcerated. And 2, while a heap of youngsters were recruited sometime after the raids, some were already next in line to take head of operations.
I was just about to say that. There's always somebody else ready to take the spot. You know what I'm saying? Like, somebody gets locked up, there's always somebody to fill that void and continue running things, you know? I think the word for it is a continuing criminal enterprise, CC, some shit like that.
The Driftwood Crips have a clear hierarchy, with some of its leaders even operating and directing from within correctional facilities. This point speaks directly to the influence and power of the group's leadership.
A detective from the Toronto police told journalists, the people that are in the Driftwood Crips were born and raised in that area.
One thing this makes me think about, right? Because you see how O Block, they are making everybody move from O Block. They are breaking it down. And I think they're going to rebuild it with some other buildings there. Eventually, if things were to get too bad and out of control, they might do that, bro. They might go into Driftwood and move everybody out, get everybody out of there, and everybody has to move into different neighborhoods. And, you know, that would be crazy. I don't think it'll happen yet, but there's always a possibility.
So, you're looking at their brothers, their sisters, their sons, their daughters. It sort of creates this code of silence. After the mass takedown, it wouldn't take long for the crew to start making noise again, but this time, they were under a new label, the Young Buck Killers. Court documents listed several members. Notable names include rappers Wasi, Pressa, GD, FB, and the man himself, WhyG, who was just 17 at the time. All 5 men were essentially the new foot soldiers for the crew. They were directly involved in the trafficking of firearms and drugs, primarily cocaine. The new generals to take head of operations were Muhammad Hersi, FB's older brother Gould Mahadale aka Gully, and Press's older brother
Damn, that's you, Bundog? No wonder why you wear the mask. Now, let me stop.
Shermar Gardner.
I'm joking, man. Calm down.
Not long after the mass arrests of the Driftwood OGs, these guys took lead, and within
Something
3
really looked
years,
Filipino
they were
right
a
there.
thriving criminal organization. They had managed to expand their operations as far north as Sudbury, as well as across Western Canada. They had even become the main Fenty supplier for a high-ranking Hells Angels member. Operations grew at such a rapid pace that it only took 3 years after Project Kryptic for Toronto
Let me
police
find
to
out
catch
they
wind
involved with the
YBK
Sons of Anarchy,
and
bro.
organize their second project targeting the crew. By September 2011,
They taking orders from Jax.
wiretaps would be placed on several young buck killers, including YG. What investigators would hear over the course of their mere 3-month investigation would add up to nearly 300 pages worth of evidence, ranging from conversations about shootings to trafficking firearms.
Yeah, I ain't gonna hold you child support. You be ODing with these ads, bro. 3 or 4 ads, I can understand, but an ad every fucking 5 minutes.
On October 1st, 2011, YG robbed a man who went by the moniker Brains. Among the things he robbed was a chain. In a wiretap call the next day, Bundog talked at length about YG's robbery of Brains, calling it a quote-unquote young buck thing. Later that same day,
Yeah, caught on the wire.
YG was arrested at 390 Driftwood Avenue in connection to an alleged domestic dispute. He identified himself as Shane Campbell and said he resided there. Apparently, that was enough to fool the cop, as he was released and all of the property found on him at the time of his arrest, including the chain he robbed from Brains, was returned to him, except a
They put that
BlackBerry
cop
Gold.
on desk duty
The phone
after that.
wasn't returned because YG said it didn't belong to him and he didn't know where he got it from. Upon further investigation, the phone was found to be registered to a man by the name of Quincy Taylor. After the completion of Project Marvel, it would be revealed Quincy Taylor was the alias Bundog would use when conducting his drug operation. 2 days later, YG would call Bundog and tell him an elaborate tale about losing his trap phone. He said he was in a taxi with a gun along with several other people when they were suddenly stopped by police. YG said he jumped out of the taxi and ran, and while the police chased him, the others got away with the gun. When YG mentioned the feds probably have his trap phone as well, Bundog wasn't happy, knowing there were pictures and videos of his illicit activity on the phone.
They had to give YG a DP?
At approximately 9
They had to
p.m.,
discipline him for
shots
that?
were fired inside Wilson subway
Imagine
station in
that.
Toronto. A video from the station shows a man being chased down a flight of stairs by YG and another YBK member. That evening, phone calls were intercepted, and investigators could hear YG discussing what had occurred at Wilson Station with his affiliates, with one person saying that the incident occurred because some youths were moving slimy. 1 month later, wiretaps on Bundog's phone were intercepted and he could be heard giving YG instructions on where to obtain a firearm somewhere in Hamilton. 11 days after that conversation, YBK member GD was shot in the foot in Hamilton. Moments later, Bundog was called by one of his associates who had seen what happened. Bundog told them to call 911, which they did. A few minutes later, before the police arrived at the scene, the associate called Bundog back and asked him what they should do with the gun.
What? What's going on here? He told him to call 911? Why? I'm not understanding.
Bundog told them to call 911, which they did. A few minutes later, before the police arrived at the scene, the associate called Bundog back and asked him what they should do with the gun they had. Bundog instructed them to give the gun to another associate who was also there, Prince Asante, and have him leave. Bundog then met up with YG and they joined up with Asante in a black Charger, but they were stopped by police a few minutes later. Asante was arrested.
They was about to
but
go
Bundog
spin.
and YG ran and escaped
that
custody.
get back.
The police subsequently found a loaded .45 caliber automatic handgun on the floor of the Charger.
Damn, they leaving the
Based off
stolies, the
wiretap
guns.
Conversations later that night between Bundog, YG, and several other young buck killers, it was clear they knew who shot GD, and there was talk of retaliation. However, Toronto police believed they had a sufficient amount of evidence to establish YG and his fellow YBK associates had access to multiple guns which were used not only for protection while carrying out their drug programs, but also for retaliation if required. So, 2 days later, at approximately 5 o'clock in the morning, nearly 900 law enforcement officers from various departments began executing 67 search warrants simultaneously across Toronto, Hamilton, Ottawa, and Surrey, British Columbia.
Handguns, automatic rifles,
Damn.
and more than $100,000
Them boys had some firepower that'll make Call of Duty jealous.
during yesterday's
Look at that.
cross-country crackdown.
We're confident we've made a dent in some of the organized crime that's been plaguing some of these communities.
Them
Them
dudes is ready to go to war.
We have seen these things develop.
Send them to Ukraine. Now let me stop.
Says she knows many of those arrested, some as young as 14, facing charges that include attempted murder. They appeared in court today, one by one, and many have already been released.
If your children have guns, moms, look in their rooms, check. You might have a killer on the dinner table.
Damn.
The mass takedown would be dubbed Project Marvel, and according to court documents, the first arrest was none other than YG. On December 13th,
He was the first one to get
2011,
nicked?
at 5:07 a.m.,
That's wild.
YG's residence was raided. He, along with another YBK member, were placed in the living room. It was there when officers found a fully loaded .40 caliber Taurus handgun with the serial number scratched off in a flower pot and 2 phones. Within these phones contained 3 videos titled Hard Oz 1, Hard Oz 2, and
Hard
Hard Oz
Oz.
3. They begin with a close-up of a pot on the front burner. In the pot, in what appears to be boiling water, is a Pyrex measuring cup containing a white substance. As the camera pulls back, two individuals are standing before the stove. Investigators were able to identify Bundog as the person who is stirring the white substance.
I thought that was pressing for a minute.
As the person recording. YG was subsequently arrested and charged with a list of offenses ranging from drug trafficking to firearms possession. With the substantial evidence collected during the 3-month investigation, it would take more than 4 years to reach the sentencing stage. The first ones up to hear their fate were the 3 generals of YBK. Muhammad Hersey, who Justice Stephen Clark called one of the gang's principal leaders, was sentenced to 13 years in prison. Gully was handed an 8-year
still locked up or
and
what?
was deported to Somalia. Bundog was sentenced to 10 years and was released in 2020. For his part in Project Marvel, YG served 2 years and was released by January of 2014. He was arrested again in November of 2015 and found guilty of breaking and entering. He was sentenced to 1 month in jail, 2 years of probation, and handed a lifetime weapons ban. After YG was released in January.
So he got a lifetime weapons ban. So I'm assuming if he ever gets caught with another weapon, what that means, he's gonna do life? He can never come out of jail? Like, let me know what that means.
January of 2016, he laid low for a bit. Around this time, several of his Driftwood affiliates were rising in Toronto's underground rap scene, so he would often accompany them to their studio sessions. Naturally, he began rapping with them. He would appear on his first track, Chicken Coop, on May 9th, 2016, which didn't see much success, but 24 hours later, he would drop a track some would regard as a certified hit classic.
I told her that I love her just to fuck her. If she try and set me up, I have to dust her. I give her bricks and then I turn her to a runner. And if she from my R block, then I don't trust her.
Nearly 7 years after its release, Her by YG still holds replay value amongst Toronto rap fans. In the music video, YG can be seen donning a Free Press Machine shirt. This is because
go check out my reaction to that, man.
Who often went by the moniker Press Machine, was incarcerated. Coincidentally, just 2 weeks after the release of what was supposed to be his breakout song, YG's path to success would take an unexpected turn, as he would find himself in a situation similar to his close friend.
Sunny morning, and 20-year-old Nathan Lee is heading out for a bike ride, but steps from his home, Lee is gunned down at point-blank range. The video released by police today shows the 2 suspects approach. Both are armed with handguns. It's hard.
20-year-old Nathan Lee always loved to be outdoors riding his bike in the fresh air of his Jamestown neighborhood, where he lived for nearly 12 years. But on a clear, bright morning doing just that, Nathan was brazenly shot when 2 men made an attempt on his life just steps away from his home. He survived, but was left paralyzed from the incident. At the time, the shooting was just the latest in a string of gun violence targeting.
The one thing about that incident that is kind of crazy to me was, I've always wondered, was that kid a civilian or he was involved with police? Because I feel like if you go to your ops hood and you just blick at a random person, I can't respect it. So let me know in the comments now.
Jamestown residents. It happened not far from where Candace Rochelle Bob, a 35-year-old woman who was 5 months pregnant, was killed a month prior by bullets that hit her in the back seat of a car.
Damn.
Her baby was removed through emergency C-section, but passed a month later. According to Toronto police, they linked both incidents to a decade-long gang feud between the Young Buck Killers and Rexdale's Jamestown Crips. They went on saying that Pressa, who was incarcerated at the time for the kidnapping case, was jumped and beaten in jail by other rival gang members. The attack occurred 1 week before the Nathan Lee incident, which left investigators to believe the ambush on Nathan was an act of revenge by the Young Buck Killers. After police released footage of Nathan's ambush, his mother Tracy was able to identify one of the men seen in the video. In fact, the man once lived 2 doors down from her.
Wow, that's crazy. I didn't know that fact.
YG's face was plastered all over the city, and a Canada-wide warrant was sent out for his arrest.
It's crazy because he did live over there at some point, so for somebody to look at the cameras and say, oh, nah, I know who this is, I mean, you would have to think that's valid. Like, you would have to think that's a credible source right there. So I don't know how he was able to beat that case, man. Good lawyers.
Fearing for his safety and facing serious legal charges, he made the difficult decision to leave behind his hometown and embark on a journey to escape the long arm of the law. YG arrived in Los Angeles, a city known for its glitz and glamour. In the City of Angels, he continued to create music, reflecting on the life he left behind in Toronto and the dreams.
So this was when he was chilling with Houdini over there?
In his own words, he was just living the life.
if these guys are fucking really gonna fucking try to fuck over my life, I'm gonna try to have some much entertainment as I can, right?
Yeah.
So when I was in America, I just was doing the most. I was going to LA, fucking Melrose and Fairfax, fucking. I was going to a hell of fucking parties, house parties. I was going to shows, fucking. I was seeing every rapper.
You could tell he must have loved living in LA when he was over there.
Making money too, you know. Like anywhere I go,
He's mad giddy to talk about it.
I just like the way how I was raised and the way where I'm from, like. Since I was 14, I've been making money. Since I was a little kid, I've been making money. You could put me anywhere in the world. I could pick me up and drop me in China. I'm going to make money if you drop me in China, you know?
While on the run, YG would feature on tracks with Jay Critch and Driftwood affiliate 21 Neat, but under the moniker 35 Neat, possibly in hopes of throwing off the feds. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough, as YG's run from the law would last no more than 2 years. He was caught all the way in Columbus, Ohio, and formally charged with attempted murder. He was extradited.
What the hell was he doing in Ohio? He's trying to sneak back in?
Frenzy, which seemed to have caught him off guard.
Tell me about that experience, that moment that popped up on IG, where like you're coming through the airport with the handcuffed with the people. What was going through your mind then?
No, like I didn't see that, right? I just hearing about it, but at the end of the day, I wasn't there. I was in jail when they're posting that shit, right?
Okay.
But when they brought me to the airport and I'm seeing this shit, like I came to the airport, I'm cuffed up, and I just seen like two white guys. First I seen like bare people and I seen like white guys with cameras, but I wasn't really paying them no mind. I didn't think it was that serious until I seen him just up the camera and they're pressing the button, but the button doesn't sound like a regular camera. It sounds like a machine gun. Like,
welcome home.
Just walk.
Saying what the fuck's going on? You know what I'm saying?
Put on my hood.
I started telling the police to put on my hood and shit. Playing games, you know, trying to put on my hood.
As luck would have it, when YG was captured, Pressa would be cleared of all charges in his kidnapping case. He would then spend $50K and provide YG with the same lawyer who helped clear his name. It looks like
that's a great lawyer, bro. Keep him on retainer.
Would spend no more than 7 months in pretrial custody before he was cleared of all charges. That's right, even with the CCTV footage, and after going on the run for 2 years, he was still
better call Saul ass lawyer, bro.
Also, the victim refusing to testify probably helped his case as well. Nevertheless, after being released, he wasted no time hopping back into the studio to share his side of the story.
I drip like condos, nigga, you snitch. It's the like Rondo. They try to frame me. It was a
scandal.
In collaboration with Pressa and Juno Award-winning producer Wonder Girl, YG's
they tried to frame me. It was a scandal.
Hit 250,000 views in just under 2 weeks after its release. Judging by the comments, it was clear fans were shocked by his abrupt return to the scene. But
hopefully they gave top 5 that lawyer, bro.
YG wasn't fazed.
He need their lawyer, bro. He would have been home already.
Fueled by it.
In the trap with your auntie. She up a brick in her panty. It's YG and Houdini. I think she wanna
Alongside Houdini, YG would earn his first certified gold record just 2 months after the release of Gamble. Dubbed Toronto's national anthem by supporters, it appears Anti would be the spark YG needed as he began releasing hits at breakneck speed soon after. With songs like Was, Mr. Walkthrough, and Neat Machine 2, he amassed a large enough catalog for him to begin performing at sold-out venues by the end of the year. He quickly gained a reputation for his captivating energy and raw story.
I honestly think if he would have been able to perform Anti as much as possible when it came out and capitalize off that, he would probably be in a better space right now musically.
As his bars captured the essence of Toronto's underworld. Not even a year after going on the run and beating an attempted murder charge, YG was already competing against some of the biggest names in the scene. He finished 2019 strong with 4 projects, and heading into 2020, he continued to set his mark on the scene.
Little Britney. It's a classic right here.
I'm a real stepper, don't watch her step. In the trap house and vest. My ops gay like Lil Barrett. GGXCFN, that's how I learn.
I think we all can agree.
Shit, I want to listen to that song again. It's been a minute.
Everyone, to say the least. But for Toronto rap fans, it was the year of the diss tracks. First, it started with Lil Barrett. After videos were leaked of the Regent Park rapper in compromising positions, YG didn't hesitate to be the first person to share his thoughts on the situation.
Yo. Them take a bomber clock for in this. Yo. Batty boy. Them need to step far from we. Cause them not in what we in. No cap. I seen Barrett in Montreal. Ask him if he said a word to me. Ask him if he opened up his mouth and even said something to me. His homies are around me, and guess what they're trying to ask me? Why did you come to my neighborhood? Why you making stories in my neighborhood? Why you going to my neighborhood and making stories in my hood?
If they saw him, why nothing didn't happen though?
Anybody could come out there and stand up and make a story over there. The fuck? You guys are not out there. You guys are babies. These guys came to me, 35, Big Boss 35, to ask him why he was in their neighborhood. Ask them what they were talking to me about. Why were you in my neighborhood?
WhyG's terrorization of Regent Park rappers continued a month later when he released a diss track targeting the late Smoke Dogg. Alongside Top 5, WhyG would earn his first #1 trending YouTube video with the diss. This also marked the first time an underground Toronto rapper earned a #1 trending YouTube video. WhyG's reign of terror on Regent Park ended there, as his focus quickly shifted to Malvern-based rapper Honcho Hoodlum. 2 months after releasing Heard of Me, WhyG would drop Blue Tea. In the music video, he can be seen wearing a familiar blue shirt while roaming the streets of Malvern. This, coupled with the bars.
Block in my blue tea, big Glock in my blue tea. If I see an outfit getting shot in my blue tea, and I'm 2 times guy, but I gave him more than 2 pieces.
It's easy to see why the track left many fans stunned. The dissing continued throughout the end of 2020, but heading into the new year, it appears his antics may have caught up to him, because WhyG was arrested all the way in Yukon Territory. On January 21st, following an investigation, the RCMP initiated the arrest of 2 men in the Whitehorse neighborhood of Porter Creek at approximately 10:50
My son was living out a Grand Theft Auto story. The Yukon?
From BC was
Where the hell was that at?
He was under arrest
Vancouver?
and attempted to run from police, but was successfully apprehended. During this ordeal, the passenger of the vehicle exited and ran from police. The passenger, WhyG, was captured and
YG always running, bro.
Released a canine unit. He was
He ain't
charged
trying to
with
go to
resisting
jail
arrest,
ever.
escape from lawful custody, and possession of property obtained by crime under $5,000.
Just know if you're gonna do a drill with YG, if the cops try to pull you over, he's dipping.
Since being released, YG has managed to stay out of trouble and has continued to put out projects on a consistent basis. He proves that even in the darkest of times, the power of music and the pursuit of justice can lead to redemption and success.
Alright, y'all, that's the reaction. I thought it was an interesting reaction, but a lot of this stuff I already know. It was nothing like that really surprised me in this video, but nonetheless, it was a well put together video documenting YG's rise and, you know, his history and stuff like that. I enjoyed it. Anyway, man, y'all already know, man, it's your boy Dollars. If there's any other videos you want me to check out, just let me know in the comments, and we off this.
Before my time goes by, they gon' raise a nigga jersey in the sky. Treat a nigga right, big dreaming on my life. Shorty wanna get some air, I go and get her when I fly. Taking off when these niggas are retired. The minute I catch fire, I smoked them all before, just revisiting the high.